How's it going, guys? It's Whyisthisthat. So welcome back to another episode of EU4 with the Coptoman campaign. However, just to let you know, this is actually being recorded, this audio, in post, because of the fact that apparently when I was recording this episode, my mic was unplugged. Luckily for me, kind of, after... Let me just get that out of the way. This whole episode recording session has been a mess. Because after this episode, the next one actually crashed my computer. Or, it didn't crash. The game didn't crash my computer, but my computer crashed about halfway through the episode, or a third of the way through. So the next episode, when my mic is back, luckily, you'll hear me talk about that. So be warned about that. But basically, that happened, and at that point, I made sure to check, and I was like, oh, let's check everything while we're at it. And then I realized my mic wasn't unplugged. However, I just now found out that it wasn't actually plugged in for this episode either. So, yeah, this is being recorded in post, so I already know what's going to happen in this episode, so that takes the suspense out of it. I'm also going to say, just, you know, I'm probably not going to do this for the whole episode, but right now I'm just watching myself play so that I can sort of commentate about what I was talking about. So basically right now I was talking about how I noticed that Muscovy did not have an heir, and even though we're over our force limit, I was like, yo, this is cool. We should go ahead and marry them because it's worth it. I am sorry about that noise, by the way. Actually, I don't even know if you could hear it. You probably could. But yeah, our king died, actually, for the first time this campaign. Actually, we lost our original ruler. Actually, I just realized I thought that was in the lost footage from the second episode of this session, but it wasn't. So you're gonna hear me talk about that, and just know that I'm actually a liar. In any case, yeah. So I'm just gonna. I don't think anything major happens in this video besides that. You basically have seen everything major in that we marry Muscovy, and we have our ruler die. So that's basically it. I'll talk about some stuff as it goes through. I don't think I'm going to do this for the whole video because I don't feel like spending another 20 minutes on an episode I already recorded. So if that's, you know, if you don't like this sort of thing, like the game music is still going to be here and whatnot. So, you know, if you just want to watch me play the game without volume for a part of the video at least, then that's fine. But I'll go ahead and talk a little bit. So basically in this episode, I was thinking, you know, let's just consolidate stuff. And I actually was talking throughout the course of the video. This gives me a chance to repeat this in a more concise way, I guess, since I can focus on it. But if there's... I've been taking your comments to heart and stuff. I've also been looking at some guides for World Conquest. In fact, right now, I think in the video, I was looking around the world to kind of show the whole world in relation to my thoughts on this, which is my thoughts on this being, and I think we should plan out sort of our plan of attack for the World Conquest, if we want to even have a chance at that. Again, I'm not so sure it's even viable for me because I don't know if I'm good enough. But it definitely gets easier as you go along with the core creation cost and whatnot. And I think there's a chance that we can get it, especially with PUs and stuff. With PUs, it's much more viable. And the late game bonuses you get from the last age, the Age of Revolutions now, it makes it so that subjects will be a lot more loyal. So anyways, I do think that we are doing all right in our series right now. But basically what I went over in this game is I'm not so worried about Western Europe, which is where I'm looking right now, my past self. But I think for the next 100 years, until 1600, this is what I was saying basically, until 1600, essentially I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on moving south and essentially consolidating the Middle East, including Persia as much as I can, getting that going at least. Getting Persia going, getting that consolidated, the whole Middle East consolidated, including Arabia, and also into East Africa and North Africa. Getting all of that, basically the whole Muslim world consolidated. I want to get Persia going and stuff. I'm going to start annexing Circassia soon. I actually, it looks like my past self started fabricating on Bosnia, and that is because actually I believe in this episode at some point I will be declaring on Bosnia. Spoilers. I had been planning to do that already. It's not really spoilers. Albania also, I already been fabricating on them, but you'll see that in a bit if you do want to continue watching this. And if you don't, by all means, wait until tomorrow's episode. I might even release it on the same day just so that, because it's kind of lame that this happened. But it's not my fault. I hope you realize that. I don't like doing it either, but maybe I'll release 2 episodes in one day as a result. Anyways, so yeah, I was kind of thinking what we should do is set goals for ourselves. So we should set a goal for the year 1600. And my goal for the year 1600 is to have all of Persia consolidated, ideally. Now, all of it is a little ambitious, but have a good chunk of it consolidated. Have all, or as much as I can, of East Africa and Egypt and the Levant. I have as much as that as I can consolidated. I want to have as much of North Africa as I can have consolidated. And actually, a part of that is that I want to have Tripoli rather, as a vassal. And I kind of went over this, and this is one thing I actually really do need your guys' opinions on, is if I were to go ahead and do that, make Tripoli a vassal. Actually, you know what? Since I'm not doing anything, I can look this up right now. Tripoli ideas, EU4. I want to know if they have the creation cost. I'm pretty sure they do. They have Berber ideas, right? Yeah, so they have Berber traditions. Everyone in that area does, though. Oh, God. So I don't really think it, it's fine. Basically, in any case, we're going to have to spend a lot of extra points on Tunis and Morocco and I don't want to be slowed down by that. So instead of integrating it, I think what I'm going to do is just have Tripoli, or whoever is the first person I release. I haven't gotten around to that. Spoilers for the next couple episodes. But whoever I have release out of Tunis, I'm going to create a march and just feed them all of that culture group, the whole culture group. I'll have everything that's Egyptian, but the whole Tunisian culture group, I'm just going to feed to this one vassal. What is it? The Maghrebi culture group. Maghreb? Jack told me how to pronounce that. It's Maghreb or Maghreb or something like that. Maghreb? Something like that. But that whole culture group, I'm going to feed over the next 100 years as well to one vassal march, probably even. And they're just going to, and I'm maybe going to have them till the end of the game even. I don't know. It depends on how useful they end up being. But when they have all of North Africa, they should be pretty strong, and it'll be useful. They'll be raiding too, which is good. And that money will be going to me indirectly. It'll just benefit us in general and hurt our enemies, so it's not bad at all. And essentially, we'll have them be just a long-term vassal that's going to be eating stuff for us. And what I might do is I might actually install someone from our dynasty on their throne, which you can do. In short-term, that'll be a little bit of a bad thing, but long-term, it'll be good for a couple of reasons. For one, it could just be good in that you get the bonus for the relations, but also it's good in that you could get a PU out of that, which would be better because then we might inherit them, although I doubt it. But essentially, just long-term, we would want them around just so that they could help us in Europe, for one. They would just be able to do a lot of the busy work for us and just contribute a bunch of forces. It would take out a lot of the work we would have to put in. In other words, like, as long as we have the land under our control, it doesn't matter. I'd rather not spend so many admin points, although we do have a lot of bonuses, but I'd rather not spend so many points all at once early on when we could be getting other more important, crucial areas, you know? And then they could help us with stuff, and then eventually we can integrate them if we want. So that's kind of my plan, and I think it's a good idea, but I don't know. I think that's the only vassal that I really plan to keep around long-term. Even like Crimea, I don't really care to keep that long-term, although they'll probably be around for another 50 years, maybe. We'll see. I did talk about how my next idea group is going to be quantity, definitely, like no doubt at all. Oh, there, Dulkadur just got integrated and stuff. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff that I'm planning on doing that I talked about this episode, but you didn't really miss too much in this episode. So if you do choose to just skip this episode, I totally understand. I'll go ahead and just tell you what's gonna happen again. I'll leave a little bit of it surprise, but like, we eat people. Nothing big happens. There is some stuff, actually. I will say this, although this episode isn't the most exciting, next episode and the episode after that get very intense. I'm not going to spoil what happens, but let's just say I underestimated some of our enemies, and it did not necessarily pay off poorly, but it does make stuff more intense and a little more high risk. Let's just say that. Anywho, but yeah, so that's kind of my plan, is make Tripoli or someone, it doesn't really matter who, honestly. Just make one of those powers there, own all of North Africa long term, before the year 1600. Before the year 1600, also own all of East Africa, all of Africa beyond West Africa, Central Africa, South Africa. Own everything on the eastern and northern sides of Africa, essentially. Own all of Arabia, that one should be easy. And also own all of Persia, or at least be pushing back with Ardalan or Tabaristan or some vassal there. Be pushing them into Persia and be like on a process of taking out Persia. And I don't think that'll be too hard either. Post 16, well, and yeah, and then also when I have chances in the, but before 1600, when we have chances, when our troops, you know, when we have truces with everyone else, once we get quantity ideas and have more armies in general as well, this will be easier. We're also going to be focusing on eating some key points in Europe. I'm not going to worry about most of Europe because I actually want to try to become emperor, and that's how I want to get the majority of the high development areas in Europe. But there is going to be some stuff I'm going to have to do. And I'm going to try to do some of that before 1600, although I can't do too much with the aggressive expansion being so high. I want to get control over the Genoa node in a reasonable way, so that will probably involve going to war with Spain, or well, it's Castile and Genoa and others. But I think it won't be too hard. We just want to get some key points and get some footholds, even if we're not getting super far into. Even if we're not getting super far into the into Europe, I want to get some footholds in Italy, conquer more of Italy in general, actually, and a little bit of Spain. I'm not going to worry about like England or anything. We might worry about Portugal. As you can see, I'm looking around at them for the North Africa stuff. But basically, I want to consolidate the Venice and Genoa nodes. Those are the main ones. The Genoa node, in my opinion, is the best one in the game. The English Channel is a close second, and then the Venice is a third. For us, it will probably be even less, actually, because we're going to focus on Genoa. But we're going to focus on the Genoa node, get as much trade and whatnot in the Genoa node as we can, and just be pumping money into there. And then focusing on the Genoa node as a secondary objective. And then we're going to be focusing on getting, in the second half of this century, we're going to try to make sure that the HRE gets the Treaty of Westphalia, and we're going to try to become the emperor after that point, because if we do, I feel like that'd be really powerful. We could probably get the vassal swarm. It might be a little difficult, actually, but, well, I guess if we add all our land, we can get some of their foreigners, right? I don't know. We'll see. It might not be viable, but either way, if we become the emperor, it should be fine. We should have enough land to do something like that, right? I don't know. We'll figure something out. In any case, we're also gonna we might, before the turn of the century, focus on like not Russia, but maybe like Poland or Hungary a bit. We might focus on trying to eat Hungary on our own before 1600. So Hungary, Italy when we can, Spain when we can, a little bit, and Portugal maybe. But not really moving north of that. So just kind of sticking around the Mediterranean and the Balkans and the Upper Balkans and whatnot. And not too much beyond that, because I don't think we really need to. I think we can do the rest of it in the late game after 1600. So that's our plan pre-1600. And I guess I'll take a couple minutes. We actually have made it through most of this video with me just doing, you know, post-commentary. But then we're also going to... And also, just, you know, even if you're skipping out now and on the rest of the video, please, like, give me your suggestions and your advice and anything that might help. You know, do you think I have good ideas about this? Do you think I have bad ideas? Are these goals too ambitious? Are they not ambitious enough? Am I going to be behind pace if I do this? You know, whatever. So post-1600, between 1600 and 1700, so that whole century then, my plan then is to really start consolidating Europe, southern Europe, so Italy and Spain, well, Iberia, and and like Eastern Europe. That's going to be my plan there. So consolidate those on that side, because by this point, ideally, we'll have enough armies that we'll just have like 2 armies in each front, in each area, dealing with wars like on a cyclical manner, and that should be good. We'll also hopefully have humanists by this point. We'll have like a really strong loadout by this point. So we're eating Bosnia now, by the way. We full annex them and feed them to Serbia. Anywho, so again, we should have North Africa, East Africa consolidated. We'll maybe push into West Africa and, you know, South Africa at this point. I also, between 1600 and 1700, start, and again, this is going to be where we're going to be pushing into Spain anyways, so I'm also going to try to start taking colonial nations and converting them into my own by taking provinces. And if we do that, we should be good to start having, like, we don't have to colonize at all directly. We just need to get colonial nations and feed them the colonies of other people, and then we'll subsidize them, and then they'll be able to handle it on their own. They'll start colonizing. So that's Europe. Europe will have a lot of work cut out for us. That's where most of our work is going to be, and colonially we'll have some in Africa and beyond. So it's going to be hard, and it's going to take a lot of episodes, but that's okay. And then the main thing is going to be, and then our other big thing will be pushing into India, I think. China, maybe. We'll see. I'm not sure if it's... Oh, so we just broke the alliance with Tunis in anticipation of going to war with them for our plan. And by the way, with that, real quick, even if we don't do the whole of North Africa thing with Tripoli, we'll just annex them anyway, so we have time to correct that if you guys say that's not a good idea, which I realize it might not be, but anyways. But yeah, so with the 1600 to 1700, with the 17th century, we'll focus on India. It will be our big thing in that direction. Maybe the Central Asian steppe in northern Russia, you know, Siberia, that area, if we can reach that far. And we'll also focus on maybe getting a base or 2 in China and Japan and stuff, just sort of spreading out colonially, and Indonesia, just so that we have bases and start consolidating in a cyclical cycle, like I said, you know. But not as focused on those. Post 1700 is when we're really going to start focusing on China and Japan and stuff, and those are going to be the last big ones. But I do think we want to get to war with like Ming fairly quickly, actually, just to at least start to break the mandate of heaven that they have. Maybe we'll just take a couple coastal provinces for now. I don't know. It's going to be a pain, but once we get to the 1600, we should be more than strong enough for that. So, anywho, that's sort of the plan as it stands for the rest of this campaign. I've never done a world conquest before, so I don't know if my pacing is off or on for that. So just let me know your thoughts. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this post-commentary section now, because I want to get back to recording, honestly, and hopefully, though, this will be a good little thing to keep you entertained for most of this video with my thoughts. It's almost podcast style, right? But if you have any objections or suggestions, or, you know, think that you might have a little bit of a better suggestion, even if you do think mine are all right, please let me know, you know? I'm fine with that. I will say, next episode and the episode after that are real exciting, real fun, and I enjoyed it. In any case, I was also a little salty, though, but, you know, that's par for the course. In any case, I'm going to sign off now. The rest of the video is going to play out with the music and stuff, but it won't have my voice, so if you're okay with that, then whatever, but it'll just be nice, relaxing, you know, have some ASMR time. Nah, just kidding. Anywho, I'm going to go wrap up this commentary. So, thank you guys for watching. Please leave a like, subscribe for more. Come back for next episodes, next day's episode. I am sorry about this whole situation, but not much I can do about it. So anyways, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.